everybody, welcome to the Career Happiness Mentors CV training mini workshop. Today I'm going to be doing obviously a training on CVs and talking about lots of different things related to CVs, because this is something that comes up not only with the women that I work with, but in general it comes up with people outside of my community. And I just want to apologise for the lateness of this training. I attempted to do this on my laptop and it crashed. I attempted to do this on my phone and it crashed. So I'm really hoping that for the next half an hour to 40 minutes that I'm talking and I'm doing this training, it's going to hold out. The internet's going to hold out. So firstly, I'm sorry for being a little bit late. Secondly, the whole point of today's training is to help anybody who is looking for a new job and is currently in a job and is looking for another one and needs to refresh their CV, or knows that their CV is not really doing the job it needs to. This training is also for somebody who is a mum who is looking to return to work and needs some motivation, encouragement and support. And it's for anybody who is really looking for advice on how to sort of get to the next stage of the job hunting process, which is the interview stage, because the CV tends to be the starting point to sort of help you get noticed by employers and recruiters. So some of the things that I'm going to be talking about in today's training is I'm going to be talking about the importance of a CV. I'm going to be talking about what it's used for, why it's needed, and the different types of CV. And then towards the end of the training, I will be sharing a little bit about a mini 5-day course that I'm going to be running in a private Facebook group. And I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end, but it's to help anybody who knows that they need maybe a little bit more hands-on support with their CV, and some feedback is included on their current CV in that 5-day course. But with today's training, we're just focusing on the 4 topics that I've already mentioned: the importance of the CV, what it's used for, why it's needed, and the different types. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of a CV and why it's important. So a CV is basically 1 to 2 pieces of paper, and it's a summary of our skills, our experience, our qualifications, and the CV is a representation of you on a piece of paper to an employer, a recruiter, a headhunter, whoever it is whose hands it lands in. And the reason why it's the starting point is because, whoever is reading your CV, they haven't met you yet. So your CV shows your unique skills, personality, everything in regards to your career and the type of profession you're in. So the importance of the CV is it needs to show some of those USPs that you have. It needs to, make you attractive and make you look marketable so that you can get to the interview stage. And it's important for recruiters and employers to have a CV so that they can, filter out a person who is suitable and filter out a person who may not be suitable for that role. And so the importance is that basically it can really be the starting point, the first point of your job hunt. And I know that there are loads of different methods of job hunting now, offline, online, but it can usually be the first point of contact for most employers and recruiters to get in touch with you. And the other thing I want to mention here as well is not so long ago I read an article about the job application form dying out a little bit. And when I mean the job application form, I'm talking about the online job application form. And that is why a CV is more integral at the moment, because if the application form is running out because employers and recruiters, they're busy people, they haven't got time to be looking and reading these long application forms, the CV kind of needs to be at its best even more. And that's why it's really important to get it right, to make it concise, to make it precise, and to essentially help you. And the other thing is as well, is that having, and finding a job, it's a job in itself, is what I always share with my clients. And so the CV can seem like hard work for some people because they're having to write about themselves on 1 to 2 pieces of, paper, and it can feel a bit daunting. But, once you get it right, it can really, really help you to the next stage. And that next stage is people calling you up for the interviews, right? That's what you want. And then obviously, after that, through the job hunting process, interviews, offers, job. That's what you want, the different stages. So the reason why it's so important is because it sets up the tempo for you starting your job hunt, and it helps recruiters, employers, headhunters, and anyone else who will be professionally helping you find a job. Okay, so that's the first thing. Oh, I can see somebody's watching. Hello, whoever you are. I can't see who you are, so please do say hello, and I'm really sorry about that. Been having a few technical issues with this training today. I thought I would just mention that. Anyway, okay, so that's just me talking about the importance of a CV. So the second part that I really want to home in on and talk about today is, what is a CV used for? And I get asked this question quite a lot. Okay, Shoma, what is the point of a CV? Do I really need a CV? I get asked that question a lot as well. And the answer to that is yes, especially if you're looking for a new job and you want to be in a new position. So what is it used for? I've kind of explained this a little bit already, but it's used for employers and recruiters. And it's used for them because they need to see what you have to offer. They need to see what you've got. And if you've got the appropriate skills, the appropriate qualifications, the appropriate experience, because this is where sort of kind of the selection process begins in the job hunt. And this is where a lot of the time I hear, but I don't have enough experience in that, Shoma. Or how am I meant to articulate, that to an employer or a recruiter on 2 pieces of paper? It can be quite intimidating. One thing I want to share is recently I have been looking for an admin assistant. I haven't recruited somebody yet, but I saw a lot of CVs. I saw a lot of great CVs, a lot of okay CVs, and and a few not so great, I'm going to be honest. And an employer and recruiter, unfortunately, there will be a certain amount of judgment there when they're looking at your CV. There will be a certain amount of, okay, is this person going to be the best person for the role? And unfortunately, I always say this to my clients and the people that I talk to. There is a yes pile and there is a no pile. So those 2 pieces of paper, or that 1 piece of paper, needs to represent you in the best possible way and make you shine. And what I was saying about making it concise and making it tidy, it's very, very important. The other thing that's really, really important, and one of the other things it's kind of used for, is that if you're in a job where your personality is an essential part, suppose you work or you work in customer service or sales, writing something on your CV that shows your personality, like maybe you've done mountain climbing, or you've done something a little bit extroverted in your achievement section of your CV, will make you look more sort of make you seem as though maybe you might be more beneficial to join their team. So show a little bit of your personality in your CV. That's important. Again, within a concise way, but it's important to make sure that the CV that you have, and the reason why it's being used, remember, is to help essentially recruit you. That's what it's being used for. And, it's to help you be in a position to get a potential job interview. You need to think about, okay, once I know that this CV is being used for me to essentially get a job, I need to then visualise myself being called for an interview. And that's why it's used, and that's why it's needed. And the other reason it's used as well, and I'll talk a little bit more about this throughout the training today, is so that you're not job hunting blindly. And what I mean by this, and this is something that happens with some of the women I talk to, they come to me and they say, Shoma, I'm looking for a job. I go, oh, great, that's really, really great. What type of job? Any job. See, the problem with that is that if an employer in your personal statement doesn't see that you are being serious about your job hunt, or that you are not targeting your job hunt in a certain area in a certain way, that will ring alarm bells to them, and that will make them think, is this person really committed to the type of area that they specialise in. So it helps you to not job hunt blindly, and it helps you to be selected more efficiently and more quickly. And that's why, a CV is used. So the next bit that I want to talk about, and I have got some notes here, it's just so that I don't forget anything in this training, because it is a half an hour to 40-minute training. And as I said, I can see who's watching. Well, I can see someone's watching, but I can't see who you are, so sorry. But please do comment, and hopefully I will catch the comments on the replay and I can reply back to any comments you have or any questions you have. So the next section of this training is why is it needed? Why is a CV needed? I've kind of covered this a little bit already, but I'm being very meticulous with the training today, so that's why this section is really important. Basically, it's again, it goes back to that selection process element I was talking about. Nowadays, people, you might hear the expression, oh, it's harder to find a job, or it's not as easy as it was to find a job. And there may be a certain element of truth to that, maybe. But if your CV is done to a certain standard and it is, all the things that I've been talking about already, it will help a recruiter, will help an employer decide whether or not you are suitable for a job, firstly, so that's why it's needed. The other thing is that, yes, there is going to be a bit of competition. You can't avoid competition. So what you need to do, what I was talking about with your personality, you need to make sure that their CV is showing personal elements of you. Like I was talking about the runs and, mountain climbing and everything, and that's great. But remember why else it's needed. It's needed to help you start the first stage of your job hunting process, to be noticed by employers, to be noticed by recruiters, to set off the fact that you are going through a stage-by-stage process. And I'm going to repeat that process again because I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. You're sending your CVs off to recruiters and employers. They're looking at them. They're saying yes or no to your CV. You're getting called for interviews. You're being maybe selected or not selected for a job or an assessment process. You're being offered a job and you say yes or no. So that, you've got the different stages, the process of job hunting that is needed. And in between that as well, if you want to sign up with recruiters and stuff, you've got that too. So it's needed because, basically you need to make sure that it's pushing the right buttons and people are going to want to talk to you. That's why it's needed, and that's why it's important that it is written well, because it's representing you and it's representing what unique skills and experience you have to offer, because only you can offer what you have. Nobody else can. There might be people who have a similar background to you in terms of education, in terms of skills, but only you can do the job in a certain way, and that's what you need to articulate on the 1 to 2 sheets of paper. So it's very important and it's needed, because without it you can't start your job hunt. I'm just going to have a swig of water quickly, and then I'm going to talk about the next section of this training today, and that's the different types. But if anyone has any questions, please do ask. I am sorry I can't see any of the comments or who's watching, but whoever is watching, please say hello. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about different types of CV. So I would say sometimes with this one a bit of controversy comes up, because every careers advisor, coach, CV writer will tell you different things about this one, but standardly there are mainly 3 or 4 types which are pretty much standard types of CV. And the standard types of CV that I generally work with, the 2 that I generally help my clients with through CV coaching and CV checks, is the performance-based CV and the functional CV. I'm going to just mention all of them and then go through what makes them different, but those are the 2 that I am mainly concentrating on. So you've got performance, you've got functional, you've got targeted, you've got student or graduate, you've got infographic, and you've got specialised. So some people would say there are more, but I don't want to overwhelm you in this training, and I just want to cover the basics with you because that's what this training is about today. So with a performance CV, what is a performance-based CV? So a performance-based CV is ideal for anybody who wants to articulate how well they have performed in their previous job roles. Again, if you've worked in sales or customer service or targets and having particular targets and measures in your job was an important part of your job, a performance-based CV is great. So it's great for maybe anybody who works in education, sales, and people who maybe are working in customer service. So that's why a performance-based CV would be really, really great for them. And the way that it's laid out is usually what happens is you have your personal profile at the top. Oh, hello, I can see a lovely like, hi. And basically, yeah, you'll see your personal profile at the top, your achievements, and then all the different other sections of the CV. But the key emphasis here is to really, really highlight what you've achieved and your performance. So that's what a performance-based CV is. The second one, and this is the one that I also help with as well, with the coaching and with the CV check, this is called a functional CV. A functional CV is basically, it's representing the skills, qualification and experience you have in a functional way. So if somebody is an engineer and they work in IT, they work in something very skill-based where only their skills can do a particular job, a functional CV is a great place to start. And the difference between that CV and the other type of CV is that key skills are a key feature of this CV. So it's mainly sort of emphasising more on what special key skills you have. So again, if somebody maybe worked in project management or they come from a very science and technical background, this CV would be a great CV for them because that's what the employer or recruiter is looking for. They're looking for those skills to home in on. Then you have something called a targeted CV. And the reason why I don't really help with this CV, I don't get many clients who come to me who need help with this area of CV, and that's why. A targeted CV is basically a CV that is designed for somebody who works in a trade or an industry that is, let's say, like hairdressing, plumbing. I mean, maybe you could even, if you want to be very creative here, if you're a dentist or you're somebody who does something very targeted and niche, a targeted CV can be the best type of CV to have because it has a special target, a special aim in terms of industry-based type of position or job. And mainly it's more about sort of showing your skills but also showing your achievements in this CV. So that's number 3. The fourth type of CV, so again, I used to help students and graduates with CVs, but if any students or graduates do come to me and they need help, of course I will still help them. But as many of you now know, I do mainly work with women who are unhappy at work and women who are looking to find work. But the student graduate CV basically focuses more on your qualifications and helps prepare you for the world of work. And what makes it different, I guess, is that because you may not have as much experience, you're having to emphasise more on the skills and qualifications you have. So that's number 4. And number 5 and number 6, the reason I know about these types of CVs is I wrote an article not so long ago about CVs for a European magazine, and I looked into this a little bit more, and basically these ones are the infographic and specialised CV. So an infographic CV kind of says, you know, what it says on the tin basically. Infographic means it's like a diagram, so it could be a diagram that's a triangle, a circle, a rectangle, and what happens is chronologically the CV would kind of like be representing different elements of you. And this type of CV is a really great CV for anybody who is a designer, or maybe you're an artist, or you do something very, very visual and you want to show your personality on a piece of paper, or on a website. A lot of these infographic-based CVs are online as well now, and people have their own websites. This is a new thing that a lot of people are doing because, you know, we're in a digital age, and digitally, if you're going for a digital job or a technology-based job, an infographic CV could be amazing. Again, the reason I don't specialise in this type of CV is because, you know, you need to have a bit more training with this one. But I just wanted to share this information with you because it's something new and something happening that a lot of people don't know about. So it's something worth investigating if you work in art and design or if you have a job which is very, very design focused. And the last CV is a specialised CV. So a specialised CV is a CV which basically is specialised. So if you were an actor or if you were a musician, with these type of CVs, what makes them different is, and this is a very European thing, in Europe a lot of people have photos of themselves on their CV and then they have the rest of their CV. A specialised CV, again, it has your photo, you might have a portfolio with that CV. It's a very, very specialised type of CV. And again, I don't help with that because there are special CV writers and creators who help with that. But I thought I would just mention it as part of this training because, you know, I want to make sure that as part of this training you understand that there are lots of different ways that you can have a CV, but it's about which way you think is best suited to you and your personality, and me sharing the knowledge and reading that I've done about CVs because I'm very passionate about sharing all this stuff with you in terms of job hunting and helping you find a job. So I hope that helps a little bit in terms of the 6 different types. What I just want to say about this is I do not offer CV writing. I only offer CV coaching and a CV check. What I'm going to do now as part of this training, I'm just going to recap over some of the things I've already spoken about today, and then as we're sort of coming towards the end, I am going to be talking about the 5-day mini course that I will be running towards the end of October. I'm going to start it on the 30th of October, but I just want to recap over what we've already spoken about today. So firstly, we spoke about the importance of a CV, why it's important, why those sort of summary of your skills and experience is important to a recruiter, and why it's an important part of your job hunting process. We then spoke about what it's used for. So, you know, basically you need your CV to attract employers and recruiters, and you need it again for your job hunting process. And we also spoke about why it's needed and, you know, what you need to be doing to make sure that during the selection process you are picked for an interview, and you know you're going along the different stages. And I also spoke about 6 different types of CV, so that you could get a better understanding about the different types and understand that there are many different ways of creating a CV, but it's all about which one you think is the best, you know, the best sort of element or type for you. And as I mentioned before, I only really help people with a performance or functional based CV because that's sort of where my zone of genius is, and that's sort of what I've been trained to do. So those are the things I've spoken about already today. Now I'm going to talk about the 5-day mini CV course, and I'm really, really excited about sharing this with all of you because this is something different that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be running this in a private Facebook group, and I'll be talking about the elements of what make up this course and how much it costs as well. But I just really, really want to emphasize that this is a mini course. It's not really bespoke. The only thing that's really bespoke is the feedback I give on the last day. But this is sort of a fraction of the work that I do with my one-to-one clients. So I really want to emphasize that because whatever you're going to get here, it is sort of like an educational thing, but you also get access to me for 5 days as well. So what are the 5 days about? So we've got 5 different days for this CV mini course. And on the first day, I really talk about the layout of your CV. So obviously you have different sections to your CV. I've spoken about a couple of them already today. Depending on the type: personal profile, key skills, achievements, education, etc., etc. So we speak about the layout and the different sort of way that you could lay out your CV and why you should lay it out in a certain way and why it's important to keep it concise and precise and meticulous. So we speak about that on day 1, and what I do, And what I would do for you guys is I would do a Facebook Live in the private Facebook group. It will give you an opportunity to ask me any questions about the layout that you may have as well. And you will get a worksheet for each 5 of these days. I forgot to mention that. So you'll get a little bit of an information / exercise worksheet type thing where you'll be able to work through in your own time, either before I go live or after, to really, really help you craft the CV that you want and need. So that's day 1. Day 2, we'll be looking at the different sections. So I mentioned the different sections, but we'll be looking at them a little bit more in depth. And I'll especially focus on the important ones like personal profile, achievements, and key skills. So this is more for really homing in on what's going to help an employer pick you or a recruiter pick you to go for a particular job interview. So day 2 is all about sections and homing in on the important sections. Day 3 is going to be about your personal profile, how to write a great personal profile, because that's the first thing that employers and recruiters look at, right? So I'll be really, really helping you to pinpoint how to lay it out, what you need to do, and how you need to write it, and the type of language that you need to be using to write a great personal profile. And then on day 4, I'll be talking about, again, the types of CV, specifically more about the types of CV that I work with, because, and again, as I mentioned, that's my zone of genius. I'll be also talking about the additional support that I offer. So I'll talk a little bit more about my CV coaching service and my CV check service, and also introducing if you feel that you need any bespoke job hunting advice and support. So that's what I'll be doing on day 4. Again, you'll get a worksheet for that day. So every day you get a worksheet. And then on day 5, I will be reviewing everybody's CV in the group and giving feedback. So depending on how many people there are in the group, and I want to keep the numbers fairly small, when we begin the course, you will send me your CV and I will give you my feedback in the group and tell you which things are really good, which things maybe you need to change, what format could be a great, format for you, and if there's anything else that I feel I can support you, any way in which I can support you further. And the cost of this course is £25. And it's a bargain at the moment because this is a new course. This is something brand new. And as I said, it's a fraction of the work that I do for a CV check or for CV coaching session, which is a lot more, because you get a lot more of me in both of those services. And this is a little course. So the whole point is that for 5 days, I will be delivering 5 different live videos. You will be getting worksheets for each of those 5 elements. On the first day, talking about the layout of the CV. On the second day, the different sections. On the third day, talking about your personal profile and how to craft it. On the fourth day, the different types of CV that I help with. And on the 5th day, reviewing your CV and giving you feedback. And what will happen on the last day as well is you will get, depending on the feedback I give you, I will give you some reflective questions to really, really help you think about the feedback I've given you and how maybe you could incorporate some of that feedback in the new CV that you need to craft. So the whole point of this particular mini course is to really, really help you kickstart basically a new CV, especially if you've been procrastinating on changing your CV, or you've been procrastinating updating it, or you feel as though maybe your CV isn't quite hitting the mark and it might be the reason why you're not being called for interviews. So it's designed for you so that you can just get kick-started basically. The other thing I just want to mention as well is that I know a lot of people are on my Facebook page, but if you haven't joined the Facebook community and you're a woman, I would love to see you in the Dream Job Support group. The link is at the top of this page in the pinned post, but if you haven't already joined, please come and join us. I post in there every Monday to Wednesday, and we speak about lots of different things, with relation to job hunting, careers advice, motivational tips, support. But yeah, basically, I would really love you guys to, if you're interested in the CV 5-day mini course, to join. As I said, it's starting on Monday the 30th of October. There will be a little section on my website very soon in relation to this course. One thing I want to mention as well is that if you are interested in help with CVs, LinkedIn or interview preparation, I do already have some services. Some of those services will be changing very soon. And if you're interested, there will be a LinkedIn training next week. And I'll be talking a little bit more about LinkedIn and the 5-day mini course that I'm going to be running for that. That's going to be in November. And then also I'll be doing a interview training and a mini course for that as well. So I really hope that this training helped anybody who watches this. I know some of you are watching live. I couldn't see who is watching, but if you catch this on the replay and you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. Don't be shy, because I want to help as many of you as possible. And if you want to join the Dreams of Support group, either send me a PM, or if you're already part of this page, you will be able to see the link at the top of the Career Happiness Mentor page or directly on my website. So thank you so much for watching today's training, and I'm sorry about the technical glitches because it was meant to start at 4 o'clock, so I can only apologise, but I've done it, so I'm happy about that, and I hope it was informative and helpful for you. So thank you so much for watching. Take care everyone. Bye.